Greetings, everyone. So up until this point, we've been talking about getting information into ACT and some general information about ACT. But now that we are used to the concept of entering contacts into ACT, let me show you a little bit about this particular database and how we find particular contacts based on doing a lookup. So if you want to look up information in ACT, you can come up to Lookup. And in this case, I'm going to start by clicking on All Contacts. And when I do that, it's going to find all the contacts in the database, and it will give me a number right here. Chris Hoffman at this moment in time is 5,440 of 5,552. If I want to go forward a contact, I click on that arrow. Back, the arrow on the left. If I want to go to the end of the list, click on this double arrow, beginning of the list, there. If I want to see all these contacts in a list view, I can click on this item right here. Typically, when you do a lookup in ACT, if there's more than one person in that lookup, this is the list view that it will return, so you can choose the appropriate contact. If I make a decision that, for example, I want to go see Jim Bennett's contact information, I can click right here on Jim Bennett and be taken inside. I can also sort these columns based on the headings by clicking on the heading. I'm not going to do that right now, but if I click on contact, it would typically be sorted A to Z. If I click on it, it will reverse the sort order Z to A. Click on it again, goes back to A to Z. So I can use this list view to see general information about my contacts. I can also add unique columns if I have other fields that I want to see. For the moment, I'm just going to leave it as is. So let's do this. Let me go back up and go Lookup. And this time, I want to find all the people in my database whose first name is John. So I've already done this lookup right here. I'm going to show you this option, which I recommend you click on and leave down, because this gives you some more lookup options. For example, let's say we look up all the people named John, and then we want to narrow it down to just the people named John who live in a particular city or state. We could do that. We could narrow the lookup. But I'm going to do a lookup first of John, and I'm going to click OK. So what it's done is it's searching the entire database, and you'll notice that now it has returned only the people whose first name is John. If you look down on the black bar down on the bottom, I know it's small, but it's telling me there's 174 contacts with the first name of John. If I want to go look at one of these people named John, I can click on that contact, and it will take me to the detail view of John. Now, this is where ACT becomes a little bit more interesting, because as you start using the software, other things are going to happen. And I'm going to go down to the bottom, and I'm going to drag this up right here. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this at this moment, but if you have a scheduled activity with a contact, you can see it here. If you have a sales opportunity created for this contact, you can see it here. Any histories of what has occurred with a contact, which won't make sense right now, but as you get into ACT and you do more things with it, you'll start to create histories. If you want to create a note about this contact, this is where you'll view all the notes you created. And I'm going to stop right there, except to say that now as you start doing things, you're getting information into ACT. And the more information you get into ACT, the more information you can pull out of ACT. So now we've looked up this particular person named John Barrett. Let me go back up to Lookup. And you'll see when I click on Lookup, the most common things that we're going to look up are right here. If there is a field that is not in this list, you can click on Other Fields, and then using this drop-down, you can see a bunch of different fields that are in the ACT database. Even though you might not be seeing them at the moment, they are in here. There can be fields in ACT that hold information that you're not seeing because of the layout we've chosen, and the layout being what you see on the screen right up here. Another way you can do a lookup is this little search bar right here has more of a Google-like search. So for example, if I want to search for Tony Holowitz, I can type that in right here. and I can just hit the enter key on my keyboard. And here we found a contact record, and also I was in here previously and I deleted myself out so I could add myself back in, but it created a history of that contact being deleted, so there was a record of it. If I want to go to Tony Holowitz, I can click right there and I'm taken right to the contact. So this is more of a Google type search, which will give you more of a broad search. And then if I want to do a lookup of certain fields, specific fields, I can look them up here. So this is the kind of thing I recommend you go in and mess around with periodically just to get a feel for it. I'm going to bring out this blue bar next. I'm going to expand it and bring it back out. I want you to observe that down below, here is another area that I can initiate a lookup. I can look up a particular field and then put the information in right there. I must be honest, it's very rare when I use this, just because over time, I'm just accustomed to doing things a different way. Therefore, I always tend to go up to lookup and do a lookup based on this criteria. Now in the desktop version of Act, this field right here is title. And if I want to look up someone by their title, I'd have to go lookup. I don't see title here, so I'd have to go other fields, and I'd have to negotiate my way down to title. I'm going to hit the letter T, so it jumps down to the first item that begins with the letter T, and it is title. If I click on that, then I could search for anyone that is, for example, president. Now, in the desktop version of Act, if you right-click, there'll be an option here that says Lookup Title. And it would bring up a box where I could type in president. It's just a shortcut to getting there. In the web version, that doesn't work. So when you get contacts in Act, it's pretty obvious that at some point you're going to want to find a contact or a group of contacts, like everyone named John, to do something, to take some kind of action. That's how you do a lookup. Looking up information doesn't hurt anything. It's just a mere way of finding the information you're searching for. So that's the first overview of looking up information in Act. And now we're starting to see some of the strengths of Act, some of the beauty of Act, where you can find information that's important to you. My name is Tony Holowitz. Thank you so very much. You have a great day. Bye now.